Hello, my name is Dr. David Palmer. I'm a practicing psychologist and psychology professor. I've created this YouTube channel for couples and parents to help them to promote happiness, wellness, and resilience in their family lives. In today's edition, I would like to review a technique for managing and reducing stress that's pretty powerful when you get good at it. I'd like to review the problem that this technique is addressing, and then I would like to describe for you how you can train yourself to become a master at this technique. You may have heard of the fight-flight response. This happens when the sympathetic nervous system in our bodies fire. These are instances when we perceive there to be a significant threat. So imagine you're laying in bed at night and you hear sounds, crashing, breaking sounds that suggest someone might be breaking into your residence. Instantaneously, there'd be changes all throughout your body, in your brain, in your muscle systems, and how you breathe, in what gets prioritized and what gets de-emphasized within your body. These changes would happen instantly in order to make you a mean, lean, fighting, or fleeing machine. And that has a lot of advantages. The problem is that when we're suffering from stress, often that sympathetic nervous system is firing when it's not advantageous to us. So imagine that version of you that believes someone is breaking in, and drop that version of you into a business meeting where you're trying to solve a problem. Or you're out seeing a movie with your significant other. Or you're trying to sleep at night. So the sympathetic nervous system can very much work against our wellness if it fires in instances where it's not helpful. And it seems that happens for three reasons. One is we confuse non-threat situations with threat. This commonly happens with anxiety disorders, for instance, where really in front of me is a kitten, but I imagine that it's a saber-toothed tiger. The second situation is when we just have too many significant stresses in our lives. There are legitimately too many tigers. And the third is when we don't have good coping strategies for coping with the tigers that are in our lives. Indeed, the ways this affects us as a culture is overwhelming sometimes. For instance, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, about 1 in 5 adults a year will suffer from an anxiety disorder. Over the course of an adult's lifetime, that rises to 1 in 3. Teens are affected, youth are affected also. For instance, NIMH indicates that 1 in 3 teenagers over the course of their adolescent years will suffer from an anxiety disorder. And worldwide surveys done by Gallup suggest that 55% of Americans indicate that they experience stress a lot of the day. That's compared to 35% as an average across the rest of the world. So these things become very debilitating. And also tragic is the fact that most of the people who suffer in these ways do not get effective treatment for it. About 20 to 30% do not get care when the quality of their life is being negatively impacted by these things. The treatment of choice, by the way, for excessive worrying, excessive anxiety, excessive anger, excessive stress reactions would be cognitive behavioral therapy. And I'll put in the notes section of this video a referral link for you to try to find someone in your area that could provide that service for you. Here I'd like to review a technique that all of us can use to reduce and manage the stress in our lives. The technique involves learning to relax ourselves. And this means both our bodies and our minds. Like any important technique, it takes practice and time to get good at this. So here I want to describe a training module that you can use to become very good at relaxing yourself. If you do this well, it's kind of like one of those movies where there's a ticking time bomb and someone comes along and clips a wire and the bomb stops and now everybody's safe. That's how dramatic of a change can happen when the sympathetic nervous system is firing and you've gotten very good at this technique. Literally in a matter of seconds, you can flush all worry, stress, anger, anxiety out of your body by becoming good at this technique. So what's involved to get this way is an exercise called progressive muscle relaxation. I'll put a link for this half-hour exercise in the comments section and also to my right here. When you listen to this audio file, it will take you through a training exercise. It lasts about a half an hour. At the end of the exercise, if you're like most people, you will melt into the furniture that you're sitting in. Now, there are a small subset of people who don't respond well to this, people who maybe already have pain in their body and can't tense certain muscles, or people who are spending a lot of energy keeping a certain painful feeling or thought out of their minds. But in my practice, about 95% of adults I do this with report really relaxing and becoming as relaxed as they've been in a long time while they're awake. So you'll see when you do the exercise, it walks you through a series of muscle groups so that you can get each muscle group totally relaxed. It also will train you in how to breathe in a particular way called diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing by itself can take the edge off significant stress that hits you during the day. And by virtue of doing the exercise, you'll be focusing on your muscles and your breath, and so we'll have a clear mind. And those are the three elements for short-circuiting the sympathetic nervous system: diaphragmatic breathing, belly breathing, relaxed muscles, and a clear mind. But believe me, it takes training to be able to do this instantly. So if you do the half-hour exercise, you'll see you're very relaxed by the end, or at least that's the most likely result. And the goal is to be able to get that way in a flash. And to do that, you'll probably need to listen to the audio file at least 3 or 4 times a week for a few weeks. In a subsequent video, I'll describe how you can measure for yourself how relaxed you are, how good you are at the end of the training period. So when stress hits, the idea is not to tense relax. The idea is simply to try to get your body and mind in the same state it is at the end of that half-hour training exercise. That's it for this edition. Please remember, we are made for love.